Well, hey, everybody. I'm Matt Parker, your friendly neighborhood student minister, and I just want to share with you some of the details of our summer mission trip 2024, and it's going to be a great time, and I'm really excited about it. A few things that you should know should be posted along with this video is a link to a Google Drive that has the information that you need in a Google Drive, and it has this basic information packet that you'll need to have all the information that you need, and also contact information for me if you have further questions. I am always available to answer said questions, and I'm ready to help you make the decision on whether or not you and or your kids would work well on this trip. Okay, so the basics of the trip are that we are planning to go to Mission Arlington in Arlington, Texas, and the dates of that will be June 22nd through 29 this summer. The cost to our people is $300 per student, and it's open to all students who have finished sixth grade through senior year and beyond. I'd love to have a good number of adults, parents, and even young adults, college students, anyone who's interested in going and being an adult sponsor / leader on this trip. I would love to talk with you about that and see if you'd be a good fit on this trip. We'll do what we can to get you cleared and ready to go. So what this is it's a mission experience, and we'll have hands-on service. We'll do some work projects for the mission, and also we'll do a backyard Bible club for Mission Arlington. So the organization, Mission Arlington, is a mission out of First Baptist Church of Arlington, Texas. It was started by Tilly Bergen, who was a Korean missionary in Korea for a long time, and she came back stateside and wanted to continue on some mission work and started Mission Arlington. And what they do is it's a wide-ranging community service organization. They have Hillcrest style thrift store, except it's no cost. So there's a lot of clothes sorting, items storing and processing. There's a food pantry. There's apartment ministries. They run apartment churches on Sundays, and they also have ministries in various Section 8 and other apartment complexes around the city. And so it's a really great organization. I've worked with them probably 5 or 6 times in the past, between the years of 2014 and 2019. I was going to take a trip with them in 2020, but the pandemic interrupted those plans. And so this is my first chance to get back to see these guys, and I'm excited about the opportunity. So on the timing, we will plan to leave at 9 a.m. on June 22nd and return the afternoon of June 29th. We'll have a free day on Friday and then leave, early-ish on Saturday to get back in the middle of the afternoon. And so the cost is $300 for students, and you can secure your spot by May 1st. Just get your online form filled out and $50 deposit paid, and your spot will be secure. All right. Okay. So if you have an info packet. You'll find on the second page a what to expect page, and so here's how it's set up. All right, so we go and we serve Mission Arlington, and we stay in a place that they own. They've been given church buildings, they've been given office buildings, they've been given apartments all around the city, and this is where they house the groups that come to serve with the mission. And so we'll stay at one of those facilities, and we'll be sleeping on the floor. You'll be in an air mattress or whatever smallish cot that you choose to bring with you, and we will. I mean, we make it work. It's an amazing time. I've stayed in church athletic facilities. I've stayed in office buildings. I've stayed in a wide range of places with these folks, and it's a struggle. And it's probably the hardest part about the trip is actually the lodging, because it's we're there to serve, and we're sleeping on the floor. Air mattresses get a hole in it, and we end up sleeping literally on the floor by the end of the night. And it's a beautiful time of being flexible and of just saying, God, what do you have for me today? So it's an amazing time. The thing about this is that we won't know exactly where we're staying until a week or two before we actually go. And so we're going to be really flexible. We'll say, yeah, God, what do you have for us? And we'll be excited to do it. But you can count on bringing a mattress to sleep on, a cot or a mattress, whatever kind of thing of minimal size that we can bring with us. You can count on a shower. Now, the shower situation, sometimes, most of the time, I've showered at the place where we are staying. But there have been a couple of times where we've had to make plans in the middle of the day after we're done working to go off-site, carry all of our supplies with us in a tote bag with us in the morning, and then when we're wrapped up with work, we stop by a shower facility, like a location where there are showers. I'm pretty sure there's not a shower trailer kind of situation in the mix, but we will go somewhere to a facility where we will shower, if that's the thing. Most of the time, like I said, the showers are on site, but I just want to set the expectations here that there is a very real possibility that we could have to shower off-site, make plans, carve out an hour of our schedule to shower each day. But we'll have a kitchen-ish thing, probably, at least a place to prepare food, and we'll prepare our food each morning. For lunch, we'll prepare our own breakfast, and then dinner in the evenings. We'll have a plan for that as well. Now, as far as weather goes, weather in North Texas in June is usually pretty mild for Texas, but you can count on temperatures being in the 90s, mid-90s probably, for the highs of the day. It's a dry heat, though. It's a dry heat. Not really. It's just pretty darn hot, and so we can make plans for that, get ready, because it's an amazing time. Our bodies do acclimate. We sweat for a reason, and so we may be sweaty and tired and grumpy by the end of the day, but it's a beautiful and lovely thing for all of us to be in this thing together. But we'll have plenty of water. We encourage everyone to bring water bottles, and we'll make sure that everybody has ways to cool off during the day. But your personal water bottle will be a lifesaver for you in those moments. Okay, so who will be serving? Now, Texans are, their own unique breed of people, and my wife is a Texan, and my kids were all born in Texas, so they have their own way about them. But actually, the people that will be serving actually in the apartments, in my experience, have mostly been Spanish-speaking immigrants from Latin American countries, and so this is part of the Texan culture, the makeup of the city, and one of the reasons why the mission is so important in this context. Many of them are first or second generation immigrants. That will be serving with most of the kids that will be serving. They're in school. They'll have language skills. But many of the parents that I've come across in these kind of deals, they may have been first generation immigrants and are still working on their English. So I highly recommend jumping on Duolingo, learning a little bit of Spanish, or leaning on your Spanish classes that you've had so far. Because any connection that we can make with people will be a net positive for the gospel as we share it. Any way that we can connect with the kids through showing them that we're trying to communicate to them in their heart language, that is a very positive thing for the interaction there. So essentially, what we'll do is we'll go to the mission in the morning. We'll have a couple of times each day that are set aside for kids programming, and we'll go set it up and run the program. But in the in-between times, we're going to go to the mission, and we're going to say, what do you got? What do you want us to do? And they may have work projects for us. I have, for the mission, they were setting up a church plant with a building, and it was a Spanish language church for the community that they were serving, and they were getting set up in this church building, and they needed a place to park. So there was a wooded lot on the property, and my team spent an entire week clearing the lot. And it was awesome, and we were chopping trees down and clearing bushes and trucking it off to the dump, and it was an amazing week. We probably won't have something like that, but we're just gonna walk into the building and say, "What do you got for us today?" And this is an amazing time. And this is actually the nature of the mission is the most like international missions stateside that I've ever been a part of, because of this nature of you're working with some and some bilingual skills. We're there to serve. We're submitting to what God has to provide for us, the opportunities that He's got for us through the mission. And so this is it's a really, really good and really hard, and we have to be really flexible to get through this. So that it's a really rewarding time, even though we're going to be challenged and sweaty and smelly and grumpy by the end of the week. We'll come back making plans to return and remembering all kinds of stories about how God has worked in our lives and in our group over the week. And if we're looking for it, and if we're expecting it, we might even see some Book of Acts kind of moments that we can do. So, is this a trip for you? This is the question for deciding. The trip is not for everyone. We're going to work hard. There's going to be times when we don't know what we're going to be doing from one minute to the next. The production value of this trip is very low. If you're into a trip like this for the high energy lights and fog and and worship and screens and all that stuff. That's not part of this group trip. In fact, there's almost no production value at all. A couple of examples on Sunday morning. What we do is we go into the mission, and they split us up into groups. We'll be with our own, at least with some of our own people, but everybody who's there to serve that week goes and is split off into the apartment churches all around the city. We'll meet some new people, and we just go and help run an apartment church and be part of worship on a Sunday morning. And it's like a person maybe with a guitar, maybe not, maybe with a tape player, maybe not even CD or MP or a streaming service. It's probably there's often like a literal tape player playing music. Sometimes CD. You never know what you're going to get. And there's a Bible study, and there might be some kids doing coloring pages, and we might be asked to help with that. And that's it. We go, we do that for an hour or two, and then we go back to the mission, and then Saturday afternoon at 5:00 is their weekly mission staff service that everybody who's serving at the mission and everybody who works there full time or volunteers there all the time, they gather together and they worship together. The 20 or 30 minutes, I forget exactly how long it is, before the service, after the Korean style that Miss Tilly has really brought to bear on the culture of the mission. Her experience was they spend 20 or however long minutes in complete silence, and they warn us as we're walking in, don't come in unless you're ready to be silent until the service starts. And so then after that time, the service starts, and it's like a worship service. But if you've ever been part of an 80s a contemporary worship service in the 80s, then you'll feel right at home. You'll know exactly what to expect, because that's been my experience there. And it's beautiful and it's awesome. And Tilly brings a message, or I don't know if she's going to have the energy for it anymore, but somebody brings a message, and it's a not low production value, but a very meaningful and worshipful experience. Okay, so for other things, on deciding if these things sound great to you, if these things sound like something you'd like to be a part of, being flexible, sleeping in air mattresses, working hard to serve a community and helping kids understand Jesus better, then we'd love to have you come along. Parents, students, you guys come along, Okay, so let's look at some other things for packing. Water bottle. We'll be taking a cargo vehicle, a cargo van, with us to pack stuff. So cargo space is going to be pretty tight. So packing space will be at a premium. Pack light. Sheets and air mattresses take up the less space in my experience, but sleeping bags are pretty easy. So another thing to think about as you're thinking about what you would take with you. The Friday is a free day for us, I'm thinking we could go to Hurricane Harbor, which is a Six Flags Over Texas water park. It's huge and it's amazing, and they have a wave pool and surfing pool and 90-degree 100-foot slides and all kinds of fun stuff. The giant tornado slide, so fun. So you'll want to think about that if that's something you'd enjoy. Another thing to think about: we may or may not have Wi-Fi at the facility where we're staying. It may even depend on what businesses are close by that we're leeching Wi-Fi off of. But if you are in summer school and an online summer school class, we can set up hotspots. We'll have maybe an hour or two each day to do stuff like that. But that's definitely something that you'll need to be mindful of as you decide whether this trip is for you, because we'll be gone the last week of the LSR 7 summer school. So if I understand it correctly, the places are generally safe for groups. We'll be in the apartment complexes during the day, plenty of adults around, and so I've never had a feeling of lack of safety. In fact, it's always been a complete completely comfortable setting for me. And so I mean, we are in low income housing apartment buildings in an urban setting, but there's, I mean, the people are there very welcoming and friendly. So I've never had a problem with that. If this trip sounds great to you and you'd like to jump in, you can go to fbcls.info/Arlington, and then fill out the form, pay the deposit, and you are good to go. The remaining $250 will be due June 1st. And if you have any other questions, you can definitely reach out. Now, on the timeline, May 1st is the deadline to get deposits and forms in, and then if you look, I think it's the fourth page on the Google Drive document is a timeline. May 5th, we'll have another Trivia Night fundraiser, and so we've got plans rolling for that, and it'll be at 5:00, and we always have a lot of fun, and that'll be to keep costs low, to help scholarship any families who need that, and if we do well enough at that fundraiser, maybe we can drop the cost just a little bit if we can make enough to ensure that we can pay all the bills, and then June 1st, all the payments and medical release forms and all the forms that we have to have for the trip will be due at that time. Then May 19th and June 9th, since we're doing a kids program, we'll want to have a couple of times where we gather supplies and prepare and divide up teams who's doing what and make a plan for the trip. And those two dates seem good to me. May 19th and June 9th, we'll stay after church. I'll provide lunch at the church, and we can just spend a couple hours in preparation for that. And then June 16th will be the final pre-trip meeting parents and students to make sure that we have all of our last-minute stuff in line, ready to go. And then leave June 22nd, return June 29th. As part of the Google Drive thing, I've included last year's Mission Arlington preparation packet, or parts of it. There's a refrigerator sheet with information about the mission itself and where you can go to find out more information about the mission. It's got dress code stuff. Since we're working with people from different cultures, we want to be sensitive to how we dress, which means short, tight shorts. I know those feel like they might be the best option, but we try not to do that. Shirts with sleeves for everybody, and so we want to honor the mission and the work that they have on an ongoing basis by being sensitive by how we dress. So please keep that in mind. And they have some ideas on what to pack, what to leave at home, all that kind of thing. And then just some other schedule information about what you can expect for each day, and what you can expect for where we will stay, and so some general information will be in in that information packet. If you take a look, it'll help answer some questions for you. If there's anything in this packet or in this video that you are still have some questions, please feel free to reach out. I will gladly answer any questions that you have to help you decide whether this trip is right for you and or your student. All right. Well, like I said, contact me anytime. I love you guys, and I can't wait to have this experience with you. All right. Take care.